Do you want to successfully complete the CompTIA Security Plus exam? Then you are in the right place. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, where thousands of students have found their path to exam success. Our website provides completely free access to over 300 practice questions with detailed explanations and comprehensive study guides covering every exam objective. Everything you need for success on your first attempt for free. In this video, we will cover questions from general security concepts, threats, vulnerabilities and mitigations, security architecture, security operations, and security program management and oversight. So, let's get started. 1. A hospital requires all employees to complete annual security awareness training that covers HIPAA requirements, phishing identification, and proper handling of patient data. Which category of security control is this training? A. Technical control. B. Physical control. C. Managerial control. D. Operational control. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. D. Operational control. Explanation. Option D is correct because operational controls involve people and day-to-day procedures to maintain security. Security awareness training is executed by people and focuses on teaching staff how to maintain security in their daily work. Option A is incorrect because technical controls use technology to reduce risks. Training is not implemented through technology. Option B is incorrect because physical controls secure the physical environment. Training doesn't physically limit access. Option C is incorrect because while management might mandate the training itself is an operational control that involves people actively learning security practices. 2. A company has implemented a system that automatically wipes all data from mobile devices after 10 failed login attempts. Which of the following best describes this security measure? A. Technical and detective control. B. Technical and preventive control. C. Physical and corrective control. D. Operational and deterrent control. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Technical and preventive control. Explanation. Option B is correct because this is both a technical control and a preventive control. Option A is incorrect because while it is a technical control, it's not primarily detective. It doesn't just detect failed attempts. It takes action to prevent data exposure. Option C is incorrect because this isn't a physical control, and though it could be considered corrective in that it fixes a potential breach, its primary purpose is prevention. Option D is incorrect because this isn't an operational control, and though it may deter some attackers, its primary function is prevention through technical means. 3. A hospital implements an emergency access procedure that allows doctors to temporarily access any patient record during critical situations, but all such access is flagged for review by compliance officers. This process best addresses which security principle? A. Confidentiality. B. Integrity. C. Availability. D. Non-repudiation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Availability. Explanation. Option C is correct because availability ensures information and systems are accessible when needed. The emergency access procedure ensures that doctors can access critical patient information when needed, even if they wouldn't normally have permission, which prioritizes availability in emergency situations. Option A is incorrect because the procedure actually reduces confidentiality by allowing broader access during emergencies. Option B is incorrect because integrity relates to accuracy and preventing unauthorized changes to data. The scenario doesn't address protecting data from modification. Option D is incorrect because non-repudiation ensures people can't deny their actions. While the review process might help with this, the primary purpose of the procedure is to ensure critical information is available during emergencies. Four, a retail company implements a series of security measures at their head office. Security guards check ID badges, cameras, monitor all entrances. An electronic access system requires badge scans to enter different areas, and bollards prevent vehicles from approaching too close to the building. Which category of security controls is being implemented? A. Technical controls. B. Physical controls. C. Operational controls. D. Managerial controls. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Physical controls. Explanation. Option B is correct because physical controls secure the physical environment and prevent unauthorized physical access. All the described measures are physical security controls that protect tangible assets and spaces. Option A is incorrect because technical controls use technology to reduce security risks through software or hardware like firewalls or encryption. The electronic access system has technical elements, but the scenario primarily describes physical security controls. Option C is incorrect because operational controls involve people and day-to-day procedures, like security awareness training or backup procedures. While guards have operational aspects, the scenario describes a physical security implementation. Option D is incorrect because managerial controls focus on risk and security management through policies and procedures, not physical barriers and monitoring. 5. After a critical security patch is applied to a web server, which of the following is the most important post-implementation step? A. Update the asset inventory. B. Verify security controls are functioning properly. C. Schedule the next maintenance window. D. Document lessons learned. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Verify security controls are functioning properly. Explanation. Option B is correct because verifying security controls are functioning properly after applying a critical security patch ensures the patch successfully addressed the vulnerability without breaking existing security functions. This verification is essential to confirm the system is properly protected. Option A is incorrect because while updating the asset inventory is important, it's not the most critical post-implementation step for a security patch. Ensuring security controls work properly takes precedence. Option C is incorrect because scheduling the next maintenance window is forward-looking, but doesn't address confirming the success of the current change. Option D is incorrect because documenting lessons learned is valuable for future improvements, but isn't the most important immediate post-implementation step. 6. During a planned database server update, the implementation team discovers the update will temporarily disable encryption of data at rest. Which of the following is the best immediate action? A. Continue with the update and re-enable encryption afterward. B. Cancel the update and reschedule for a later date. C. Pause the update and consult the backup plan. D. Implement additional monitoring controls during the vulnerable period. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Pause the update and consult the backup plan. Explanation. Option C is correct because pausing the update and consulting the backout plan is the most prudent immediate action when an unexpected security issue arises. The backout plan provides guidance on criteria for aborting the change and steps to return to a secure state. Option A is incorrect because continuing an update that disables encryption without proper assessment of the security implications creates unnecessary risk to sensitive data. Option B is incorrect because immediately cancelling may be an overreaction if the backout plan provides guidance for this scenario or if mitigations can be implemented. Option D is incorrect because while additional monitoring might be part of a mitigation strategy, it shouldn't be the first response before consulting the backout plan and assessing the risk. Seven. After a security breach, an organization discovers that an attacker modified a software update file without detection. Which cryptographic control should be implemented to prevent this type of attack in the future? A. Full disk encryption. B. Digital signatures. C. Steganography. D. Key escrow. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Digital signatures. Explanation. Option B is correct because digital signatures verify both the authenticity and integrity of digital content. By digitally signing software updates, any unauthorized modifications would be detected because the signature verification would fail. Option A is incorrect because full disk encryption protects data at rest from unauthorized access, but doesn't prevent or detect modifications to files once they're accessed legitimately. Option C is incorrect because steganography conceals the existence of data within other files, but doesn't protect against modifications. Option D is incorrect because key escrow provides a backup of encryption keys with a trusted third party, but doesn't prevent or detect file modifications. Eight. A company issues digital certificates for its employees to sign internal documents. The private key of one employee was compromised when their laptop was stolen. Which action should the security team take first to mitigate the risk? A. Reissue certificates to all employees. B. Implement two-factor authentication. C. Revoke the compromised certificate. D. Change the encryption algorithm. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Revoke the compromised certificate. Explanation. Option C is correct because revoking the compromised certificate is the immediate action needed to prevent misuse of the stolen private key. Certificate revocation invalidates the certificate before its expiration date, ensuring that signatures created with the compromised key will no longer be trusted. Option A is incorrect because reissuing certificates to all employees is unnecessary and resource-intensive when only one certificate was compromised. Option B is incorrect because while implementing two-factor authentication might be a good future security enhancement, it doesn't address the immediate risk of the already compromised certificate. Option D is incorrect because changing the encryption algorithm doesn't invalidate the compromised certificate or prevent its misuse. Nine. A penetration tester discovers and reports a critical vulnerability in a company's web application during an authorized security assessment. Which motivation best describes this scenario? A. Financial gain. B. Ethical. C. Espionage. D. Disruption. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Ethical. Explanation. Option B is correct because ethical motivation involves finding and reporting security vulnerabilities to help organizations fix them before malicious actors can exploit them. The penetration tester conducted an authorized assessment and properly reported the vulnerability. Option A is incorrect because while the tester may be paid for their services, their primary goal is improving security, not exploiting the vulnerability for direct profit. Option C is incorrect because espionage involves covertly gathering information for advantage, not openly reporting vulnerabilities in an authorized assessment. Option D is incorrect because the tester is helping prevent disruption by identifying vulnerabilities before they can be exploited, not causing disruption themselves. A security analyst observes an attack pattern where the perpetrator uses basic publicly available hacking tools against random targets, makes amateur mistakes in covering their tracks, and brags about successful attacks on social media. Which threat actor type does this most likely represent? A. Nation-state. B. Organized crime. C. Unskilled attacker. D. Insider threat. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: C. Unskilled attacker. Explanation. Option C is correct because unskilled attackers typically use pre-made tools without understanding how they work. Target random, vulnerable systems rather than specific victims, show poor operational security, and often seek recognition or bragging rights for their activities. Option A is incorrect because nation-state actors demonstrate high sophistication, target specific strategic objectives, and carefully avoid attribution rather than bragging about attacks. Option B is incorrect because organized crime groups operate professionally with profit motivation and generally maintain strong operational security to avoid detection. Option D is incorrect because insider threats exploit their legitimate access within an organization rather than using basic hacking tools against random external targets. 11. An employee receives a phone call from someone claiming to be conducting a security audit. The caller asks detailed questions about the company's VPN provider authentication methods and which departments use which systems. No sensitive credentials are requested. Which social engineering technique is being demonstrated? A. Vishing. B. Pretexting. C. Phishing. D. Impersonation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. Pretexting. Explanation. Option B is correct because pretexting involves creating a fabricated scenario to extract information. The caller is using a false narrative about conducting a security audit to gather valuable reconnaissance information about the company's security infrastructure. Option A is incorrect because while vishing does involve phone calls, this specific scenario is better described as pretexting due to the elaborate scenario created about conducting a security audit. Option C is incorrect because phishing typically involves deceptive emails or websites rather than voice calls to extract information. Option D is incorrect because while the attacker is impersonating someone conducting a security audit, the primary technique being used is pretexting, creating a false scenario to manipulate victims. Impersonation is a component of the pretexting attack. A cybersecurity analyst discovers that company data is being exfiltrated to an external server. Further investigation reveals that several employees recently connected USB drives they found in the company parking lot to their workstations. Which threat vector was likely used in this attack? A. Email. B. Vulnerable software. C. Removable device. D. Unsecured wireless network. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Removable device. Explanation: option C is correct because removable devices, such as the USB drives found in the parking lot, were used as the initial attack vector. This is a classic example of a USB drop attack, where attackers leave malicious devices in physical locations, hoping employees will connect them to internal systems. Option A is incorrect, because the scenario describes an attack using physical USB devices, not email messages. Option B is incorrect, because while vulnerable software might have been exploited once the USB drives were connected, the initial threat vector was the removable device itself. Option D is incorrect, because the scenario describes an attack using physical USB devices found in the parking lot, not wireless network vulnerabilities. (14) A user's smartphone becomes infected with malware after they installed an application from a website, rather than the official App Store. Which mobile device vulnerability was exploited? A. Jailbreaking. B. Sideloading. C. Firmware vulnerability. D. Resource reuse. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Sideloading. Explanation: option B is correct because sideloading refers to installing mobile applications from sources other than official app stores. In this scenario, the user installed an app directly from a website which contained malware that infected their device. Option A is incorrect, because jailbreaking involves removing software restrictions imposed by the manufacturer to gain administrative access. The scenario doesn't indicate the user modified their device, only that they installed an app from an unofficial source. Option C is incorrect because firmware vulnerabilities affect the low-level software that controls hardware components, which isn't mentioned in this scenario. Option D is incorrect because resource reuse vulnerabilities involve shared physical resources in virtualized environments, which isn't relevant to mobile app installation. (14) A user's smartphone becomes infected with malware after they installed an application from a website, rather than the official App Store. Which mobile device vulnerability was exploited? A. Jailbreaking. B. Sideloading. C. Firmware vulnerability. D. Resource reuse. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Sideloading. Explanation: option B is correct because sideloading refers to installing mobile applications from sources other than official app stores. In this scenario, the user installed an app directly from a website which contained malware that infected their device. Option A is incorrect because jailbreaking involves removing software restrictions imposed by the manufacturer to gain administrative access. The scenario doesn't indicate the user modified their device, only that they installed an app from an unofficial source. Option C is incorrect because firmware vulnerabilities affect the low-level software that controls hardware components, which isn't mentioned in this scenario. Option D is incorrect because resource reuse vulnerabilities involve shared physical resources in virtualized environments, which isn't relevant to mobile app installation. (15) A network administrator observes that several employees report their wireless connections dropping frequently and a wireless network with the same SSID as the company network, but stronger signal strength appears in some areas. Network logs show devices connecting to unknown access points. Which type of attack is most likely occurring? A. DNS attack. B. Wireless attack. C. On-path attack. D. RFID cloning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Wireless attack. Explanation. Option B is correct because this describes a classic evil twin wireless attack where attackers create a rogue access point with the same name as a legitimate network but with a stronger signal. Key indicators include an unexpected network with the same name as the legitimate network, stronger signal strength, wireless clients disconnecting and reconnecting frequently, and connections to unknown access points. Option A is incorrect because DNS attacks involve manipulating domain name resolution, not wireless network connectivity. Option C is incorrect because while an on-path attack could intercept wireless traffic, the specific symptoms point to a rogue access point attack. Option D is incorrect because RFID cloning involves duplicating physical access cards, not wireless network impersonation. (16) A system administrator reviews access logs and notices that the same user account logged in from New York and Tokyo within 5 minutes of each other. The user confirms they are only in New York. Further investigation shows identical authentication packets coming from the Tokyo location shortly after each legitimate login. Which type of attack is most likely occurring? A. Credential replay. B. Brute force. C. RFID cloning. D. Privilege escalation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Credential replay. Explanation. Option A is correct because credential replay attacks involve capturing legitimate authentication data and replaying it to gain unauthorized access. Key indicators include authentication from different locations in implausible timeframes, identical authentication packets, and successful logins that the legitimate user didn't perform. Option B is incorrect because brute force attacks involve trying many password combinations, not using captured authentication data from another location. Option C is incorrect because RFID cloning involves duplicating physical access cards, not network authentication sessions. Option D is incorrect because privilege escalation involves gaining higher permission levels than allowed, not accessing accounts from multiple locations. (17) A security analyst discovers that several production servers are missing critical security patches. The organization is concerned about service disruption if patches are applied immediately. What is the best approach to mitigate the risk while minimizing business impact? A. Implement application. Allow listing on all affected servers. B. Disable the affected servers until patches can be safely applied. C. Apply additional network security controls while planning a maintenance window for patching. D. Request and document an exception for all missing patches. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Apply additional network security controls while planning a maintenance window for patching. Explanation. Option C is correct because it provides a balanced approach that addresses both security and business needs. Implementing additional network controls provides temporary mitigation against potential exploitation of the vulnerabilities, while planning for proper patching during a maintenance window minimizes business disruption. Option A is incorrect because while application allow listing is a good security control, it wouldn't specifically protect against many types of vulnerabilities that patches would fix, such as those in the operating system, or allowed applications themselves. Option B is incorrect, because disabling production servers would cause immediate business disruption, which the scenario indicates should be avoided. Option D is incorrect, because simply documenting exceptions without implementing any mitigating controls leaves the systems vulnerable to attack. (18) A company recently experienced a security breach where an attacker gained initial access to a workstation and then escalated privileges to access sensitive data. Which combination of security controls would be most effective at preventing similar future attacks? A. Host-based firewall and network segmentation. B. Least privilege and host-based intrusion prevention. C. Encryption and secure password policies. D. Physical security controls and security awareness training. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Least privilege and host-based intrusion prevention. Explanation. Option B is correct, because least privilege would restrict what the attacker could access, even after compromising a workstation, preventing privilege escalation by limiting user accounts to only the permissions they absolutely need. Host-based intrusion prevention would detect and block suspicious activities associated with privilege escalation attempts, providing active protection against the techniques typically used in such attacks. Option A is incorrect, because while a host-based firewall and network segmentation would help limit network-based attacks, they wouldn't specifically prevent privilege escalation on a compromised workstation. Option C is incorrect, because encryption protects data confidentiality but doesn't prevent privilege escalation, and password policies alone wouldn't stop an attacker who has already gained initial access to a workstation. Option D is incorrect, because physical security and training are important, but wouldn't directly address the technical privilege escalation vulnerability described in the scenario. (19) A development team wants to deploy small independent services that each handle a specific business function and communicate via APIs. Which security challenge is most significant in this architecture? A. Increased complexity in authentication between services. B. Reduced ability to implement network segmentation. C. Higher physical security requirements. D. Limited options for encryption of data. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Increased complexity in authentication between services. Explanation. Option A is correct because in a microservices architecture, managing authentication between multiple independent services presents significant security challenges. Each service-to-service communication requires proper authentication, and managing credentials or tokens across many services increases complexity and potential security risks. Option B is incorrect, because microservices architecture actually improves the ability to implement fine-grained network segmentation, not reduces it. Option C is incorrect because microservices architecture doesn't inherently increase physical security requirements compared to other architectures. Option D is incorrect because microservices don't limit encryption options. In fact, service-to-service communications can and should be encrypted in microservices architectures. (20) An organization is concerned about supply chain attacks affecting their third-party software components. Which of the following architectural approaches would best help mitigate this risk? A. Moving all applications to a public cloud service. B. Implementing a monolithic application architecture. C. using infrastructure as code with security validation of templates. D. Switching to a centralized processing model. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Using infrastructure as code with security validation of templates. Explanation. Option C is correct because infrastructure as code with security validation of templates allows organizations to define version control and validate infrastructure components, including third-party software. This approach enables automated security testing of templates before deployment verification of components against known good configurations, and provides an audit trail of infrastructure changes that can help identify potential supply chain compromises. Option A is incorrect because moving to public cloud doesn't inherently address supply chain risks and might actually increase dependency on third-party providers. Option B is incorrect because a monolithic architecture doesn't specifically address supply chain security and might make it harder to isolate and verify individual components. Option D is incorrect because centralized processing is about resource organization rather than securing the supply chain and doesn't provide mechanisms to validate third-party components. (21) A critical industrial control system needs to be protected from remote attacks while still allowing authorized personnel to perform maintenance. Which security architecture approach would best protect this system? A. Implementing a next-generation firewall. B. Using a web application firewall. C. Physical isolation through an air-gapped network with controlled access. D. Deploying a VPN for remote access. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Physical isolation through an air-gapped network with controlled access. Explanation. Option C is correct because physical isolation through an air-gapped network provides the strongest protection for critical industrial control systems by completely separating them from other networks, eliminating the possibility of remote attacks. The controlled access part ensures that authorized maintenance can still be performed through strictly managed processes. Option A is incorrect because while a next-generation firewall provides strong protection, it still maintains network connectivity, leaving some potential for remote attacks if the firewall is compromised or misconfigured. Option B is incorrect because a web application firewall only protects web applications, not industrial control systems, which typically use specialized protocols. Option D is incorrect because deploying a VPN still maintains remote network connectivity, which creates an attack vector that doesn't exist with physical isolation. For critical industrial systems, this represents a higher risk than necessary. (22) A security team is concerned about the failure behavior of a firewall protecting critical financial systems. If the firewall experiences a hardware failure, which failure mode would best maintain security? A. Fail open. B. Fail closed. C. Fail secure. D. Fail safe. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Fail closed. Explanation. Option B is correct because a fail-closed configuration ensures that if the firewall fails, it defaults to blocking access rather than allowing it. For critical financial systems, where security is the top priority, maintaining security by blocking access during a failure is more important than maintaining availability. Option A is incorrect because fail open would allow all traffic to pass if the firewall fails, which would compromise security of the critical financial systems. Option C is incorrect because fail secure isn't a standard term for firewall failure modes, though In some contexts, it's used interchangeably with fail closed. Option D is incorrect because while fail-safe is sometimes used in security contexts, it's not the standard term for firewall failure modes and can have different meanings in different contexts. In critical safety systems, fail-safe often means failing to a state that prevents harm, which isn't specifically relevant to the financial system scenario. (23) A healthcare organization needs to share patient records with a research institution after removing identifying information. Which of the following methods would best protect patient privacy while allowing the data to remain useful for research? A. Encrypting all records with the research institution's public key. B. Implementing geographic restrictions for all data access. C. Data masking or tokenization of identifying information. D. Hashing all patient data before sharing. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: C. Data masking or tokenization of identifying information. Explanation: Option C is correct because data masking or tokenization can replace identifying information with non-sensitive equivalents while preserving the usefulness of the data for research purposes. This allows the research institution to analyze the medical information without accessing patients' personal identifiers. Option A is incorrect because encryption would protect the confidentiality of the entire records during transmission, but wouldn't remove identifying information, which is the requirement for protecting patient privacy in research data. Option B is incorrect because geographic restrictions control where data can be accessed, but don't address the need to remove identifying information before sharing for research. Option D is incorrect because hashing is a one-way function that would make the data unusable for research purposes, as the original values couldn't be analyzed in meaningful ways. (24) A company stores data in a cloud service and needs to protect it against unauthorized access, even if the cloud provider's systems are compromised. Which protection method provides the strongest security for data at rest in this scenario? A. Client-side encryption with keys managed by the company. B. Server-side encryption managed by the cloud provider. C. Data masking of selective fields. D. Implementation of geographic restrictions. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: A. Client-side encryption with keys managed by the company. Explanation: Option A is correct because client-side encryption with company-managed keys ensures that data is encrypted before it reaches the cloud provider, and the encryption keys remain solely in the company's control. This protects the data, even if the cloud provider's systems are compromised, as the provider never has access to the unencrypted data or the keys. Option B is incorrect because server-side encryption managed by the cloud provider means the provider has access to both the data and the encryption keys. If the provider is compromised, the data could potentially be accessed. Option C is incorrect because data masking of selective fields provides only partial protection and wouldn't secure the entire dataset against provider compromise. Option D is incorrect because geographic restrictions control where data is stored, but don't protect against unauthorized access if the storage systems themselves are compromised. (25) An e-commerce company needs to ensure their website remains available, even if some web servers fail. Which high availability approach should they implement? A. Clustering with shared storage. B. Load balancing across multiple servers. C. Cold site deployment. D. Weekly off-site backups. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Load balancing across multiple servers. Explanation. Option B is correct because load balancing distributes traffic across multiple web servers and automatically routes around failed servers, ensuring the website remains available even if some servers fail. This is ideal for web applications, where independent servers can handle requests without needing shared state. Option A is incorrect because while clustering provides high availability, it typically involves shared storage and state, which is more complex than needed for a typical web server farm where servers can operate independently. Option C is incorrect because a cold site is a backup facility that takes significant time to set up and doesn't provide continuous availability during server failures. Option D is incorrect because weekly off-site backups are a recovery mechanism that would require restoration time, not a high availability solution that keeps the website operational during server failures. (26) A security team wants to test that their systems automatically switch from primary to backup components when failures occur. Which testing approach should they implement? A. Failover testing. B. Tabletop exercise. C. Capacity planning. D. Snapshot creation. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Failover testing. Explanation. Option A is correct because failover testing specifically verifies that systems can automatically transition from primary to backup components when failures occur. It tests both the failure detection mechanisms and the proper activation of backup systems, which directly addresses the team's requirement. Option B is incorrect because a tabletop exercise is a discussion-based session that doesn't involve actual system testing or verification of automatic failover capabilities. Option C is incorrect because capacity planning is about ensuring sufficient resources for normal and recovery operations, not testing automatic failover capabilities. Option D is incorrect because snapshot creation is a backup technique that creates point-in-time copies of data or systems, not a testing method for automatic failover. (27) A security administrator wants to verify that no unauthorized changes have been made to application updates before installation. Which security technique should be implemented? A. Input validation. B. Secure cookies. C. Code signing. D. Static code analysis. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Code signing. Explanation. Option C is correct because code signing uses digital signatures to verify the authenticity and integrity of code, ensuring it comes from a trusted source and hasn't been modified since it was signed. This is precisely what's needed to verify that application updates haven't been altered before installation. Option A is incorrect because input validation is used to check user inputs in applications, not to verify the authenticity or integrity of application updates. Option B is incorrect because secure cookies relate to web application session management, not verifying application update integrity. Option D is incorrect because static code analysis examines source code for vulnerabilities, but doesn't verify whether an application update has been modified after it was created. (28) An organization wants to implement a wireless network for employees while ensuring proper authentication and authorization. Which of the following should they implement? A. WPA3 personal with a complex pre-shared key. B. MAC address filtering and SSID hiding. C. WPA3 Enterprise with 802.1x and radius authentication. D. Captive portal with username, password, authentication. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. WPA3 Enterprise with 802.1x and radius authentication. Explanation. Option C is correct because WPA3 Enterprise with 802.1x and radius authentication provides the strongest security for a corporate wireless network with individual user authentication, centralized management of credentials, and the ability to immediately revoke access for specific users if needed. Option A is incorrect because WPA3 Personal uses a single pre-shared key, shared among all users, making it difficult to manage access on a per-user basis and impossible to revoke access for a specific user without changing the key for everyone. Option B is incorrect because MAC address filtering and SID hiding are weak security measures that can be easily bypassed and don't provide strong authentication. Option D is incorrect because captive portal authentication typically happens after connecting to the wireless network, meaning the initial connection might not be encrypted, and it doesn't provide the same level of security as 802.1x with radius. (29) A company is replacing its document management system that contains sensitive legal files. Which of the following is the most important security consideration before decommissioning the old system? A. Ensuring the new system has a similar user interface. B. Verifying all data has been successfully migrated and is accessible in the new system. C. Documenting hardware specifications of the old system. D. Keeping the old system running alongside the new one for 6 months. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Verifying all data has been successfully migrated and is accessible in the new system. Explanation. Option B is correct because before decommissioning any system containing sensitive data, it's critical to verify that all data has been successfully migrated and is accessible in the new system. This prevents data loss and ensures continuity of access to important legal files, which is a key security and business concern during system transitions. Option A is incorrect because while user interface similarity might affect usability, it's not the most important security consideration when decommissioning a system. Option C is incorrect because documenting hardware specifications, while useful for future reference, is not as critical from a security perspective as ensuring all sensitive data is properly migrated. Option D is incorrect because keeping both systems running creates security challenges with data synchronization and potentially increases the attack surface without necessarily addressing the core concern of successful data migration. (30) During an audit, a security team discovers 50 devices that are not in the asset inventory. Which of the following represents the greatest security concern from this finding? A. The organization may be paying for unnecessary equipment. B. The untracked devices cannot be properly secured or monitored. C. The devices might be out of warranty. D. Users might have administrative privileges on these devices. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. The untracked devices cannot be properly secured or monitored. Explanation. Option B is correct because devices that aren't in the asset inventory cannot be properly secured or monitored. They may be missing security patches not configured according to security baselines, excluded from security scans, or not monitored for suspicious activity. Untracked assets create significant security blind spots that can be exploited by attackers. Option A is incorrect because while cost management is important, it's not the primary security concern when devices are missing from inventory. Option C is incorrect because warranty status primarily affects supportability and replacement costs, not security directly. Option D is incorrect because while administrative privileges are a security concern, the more fundamental issue is that these devices aren't being tracked at all, meaning all aspects of their security are unknown, not just the privilege levels. Struggling with your IT certification exams? We've all been there. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, your ultimate resource for IT exam success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 plus active students and the impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit MyITCerts.com today and take first step towards guaranteed success. 31. A security team is analyzing a newly discovered vulnerability using the Common Vulnerability Scoring System. The base score is 8.2, but after considering their specific environment, they calculate a significantly lower score. Which of the following most likely explains this adjustment? A. The vulnerability requires physical access, and all systems are in secure locations. B. The team has implemented compensating controls that mitigate the vulnerability. C. The vulnerability was discovered more than 6 months ago. D. The vulnerability only affects a non-critical system. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. The team has implemented compensating controls that mitigate the vulnerability. Explanation. Option B is correct because the environmental score in CVSS accounts for factors specific to an organization's environment, including compensating controls that might mitigate the vulnerability. This can significantly reduce a vulnerability's effective score compared to its base score reflecting the actual risk in the specific environment. Option A is incorrect because while physical security would be part of the environmental calculation, the question specifies a significantly lower score, suggesting more substantial mitigating factors than just physical security. Option C is incorrect because the age of a vulnerability isn't a factor in CVSS environmental scoring. It would be considered in the temporal score. Option D is incorrect because while system criticality is part of environmental scoring, this factor alone typically wouldn't cause a significantly lower score for a high-severity vulnerability. (32) An organization has limited resources and cannot address all identified vulnerabilities immediately. Which of the following approaches would best help them focus their remediation efforts? A. Fix vulnerabilities in the order they were discovered. B. Address all high-severity vulnerabilities before any medium-severity ones. C. Prioritize based on a combination of vulnerability, severity, asset value, and exploitation likelihood. D. Implement the easiest fixes first to reduce the total number of vulnerabilities quickly. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Prioritize based on a combination of vulnerability, severity, asset value, and exploitation likelihood. Explanation. Option C is correct because effective vulnerability prioritization should consider multiple factors, including severity, asset value, and exploitation likelihood. This risk-based approach ensures limited resources are directed toward addressing the vulnerabilities that pose the greatest actual risk to the organization, rather than relying solely on any single factor. Option A is incorrect because discovery order has no relation to risk or importance. Older vulnerabilities aren't necessarily less critical than newer ones. Option B is incorrect because while severity is important, blindly addressing all high-severity issues before any medium ones can be inefficient. A medium vulnerability on a critical asset might pose more risk than a high vulnerability on a non-critical system. Option D is incorrect because focusing on easy fixes rather than risk-based prioritization could leave the most dangerous vulnerabilities unaddressed, while resources are spent on less important issues. (33) A company wants to implement security monitoring in their hybrid environment that includes both on-premises systems and cloud services. Which of the following approaches would provide the most comprehensive visibility? A. Using only the cloud provider's built-in monitoring tools. B. Monitoring only the connection points between environments. C. Implementing separate monitoring solutions for each environment. D. Using a unified SIEM that integrates logs from both environments. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. D. Using a unified SIEM that integrates logs from both environments. Explanation. Option D is correct because a unified SIEM that integrates logs from both on-premises and cloud environments provides comprehensive visibility across the entire hybrid infrastructure, allowing for correlation of events that span both environments. Option A is incorrect because cloud providers' tools would only monitor the cloud portion of the environment. Option B is incorrect because monitoring connection points would only see traffic moving between environments, but miss activities contained within each environment. Option C is incorrect because separate solutions would create silos of monitoring data, making it difficult to correlate related events across environments. (34) A security team wants to validate that their servers comply with security best practices. Which of the following tools would be most effective for this purpose? A. NetFlow Analyzer. B. SIEM system. C. Benchmark scanning tool. D. Data loss prevention solution. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Benchmark scanning tool. Explanation. Option C is correct because benchmark scanning tools are specifically designed to check system configurations against security best practices and identify compliance gaps. Option A is incorrect because NetFlow Analyzer monitors network traffic patterns but doesn't check system configurations. Option B is incorrect because SY0-701 system collects and analyzes security events but doesn't directly check configurations against best practices. Option D is incorrect because DLP solution focuses on preventing data leakage but doesn't scan for compliance with security configuration standards. (35) A bank is implementing a new access control system for their trading platform. They want to allow traders to access the system only during market hours and only from company offices. Which access control model is most appropriate? A. Role-based access control. B. Discretionary access control. C. Rule-based access control. D. Mandatory access control. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Rule-based access control. Explanation. Option C is correct because rule-based access control makes dynamic access decisions based on conditions like time and location. This model is ideal when access needs to be restricted based on context rather than just user identity. Option A is incorrect because RBAC would assign permissions based on roles, but wouldn't inherently restrict based on time or location. Option B is incorrect because DAC would allow resource owners to determine access, but doesn't directly address time-based or location-based restrictions. Option D is incorrect, because Mac would use security labels and clearance levels, which is unnecessarily rigid for this scenario. (36) A security administrator needs to implement a solution that verifies a user's identity before issuing credentials. Which of the following processes is being described? A. Attestation. B. Identity proofing. C. Single sign-on. D. Federation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Identity proofing. Explanation. Option B is correct because identity proofing is specifically the process of verifying a person's identity before issuing credentials, which is exactly what the scenario describes. Option A is incorrect because attestation involves providing evidence that security requirements are met, not specifically the initial verification of identity. Option C is incorrect because single sign-on enables access to multiple systems with one login, but doesn't verify initial identity. Option D is incorrect because federation allows for identity sharing across organizations, but doesn't focus on the initial verification process. (37) A security administrator wants to ensure that only authorized servers can send email using the company's domain name. Which of the following should be implemented first? A. DMARC policy. B. SPF record. C. Email gateway. D. DLP solution. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. SPF record. Explanation. Option B is correct because an SPF record specifically defines which mail servers are authorized to send email on behalf of a domain, directly addressing the requirement to ensure only authorized servers can send email using the company's domain. Option A is incorrect because DMARC builds on SPF and DKIM, but requires SPF to be implemented first for full effectiveness. Option C is incorrect because Email Gateway scans messages for threats, but doesn't authenticate sending servers. Option D is incorrect because DLP solution prevents data leakage, but doesn't authenticate email sending servers. (38) An organization wants to detect unauthorized changes to critical system files on their servers. Which security enhancement should they implement? A. Network-based intrusion detection system. B. Data loss prevention. C. File integrity monitoring. D. User behavior analytics. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. File integrity monitoring. Explanation. Option C is correct because file integrity monitoring specifically tracks and validates changes to important files by creating cryptographic hashes of files and alerting when unauthorized modifications occur. Option A is incorrect because network-based IDS monitors network traffic for suspicious activity but doesn't specifically track file changes. Option B is incorrect because DLP prevents unauthorized data transfers but doesn't focus on internal file changes. Option D is incorrect because user behavior analytics detects unusual user activities but isn't specifically designed to detect file modifications. (39) A security team wants to implement automation to improve their vulnerability management process. Which of the following tasks would be the most suitable candidate for automation? A. Determining the business impact of vulnerabilities. B. Negotiating patch windows with business owners. C. Scanning systems and creating tickets for detected vulnerabilities. D. Deciding which vulnerabilities can be accepted as risks. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Scanning systems and creating tickets for detected vulnerabilities. Explanation. Option C is correct because scanning systems and creating tickets for vulnerabilities is a repetitive rule-based process that can be clearly defined. Ideal characteristics for automation. This task can follow consistent rules without complex judgment. Option A is incorrect because determining business impact requires business context and judgment that's difficult to automate effectively. Option B is incorrect because negotiating patch windows involves human communication and negotiation skills that aren't easily automated. Option D is incorrect because deciding which vulnerabilities to accept requires risk assessment and business judgment that typically needs human oversight. A security operations center is receiving too many alerts for analysts to process manually. Which automation benefit would most directly help with this challenge? A. Standard infrastructure configurations. B. Workforce multiplier. C. Employee retention. D. Cost reduction. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Workforce multiplier. Explanation. Option B is correct because the workforce multiplier benefit of automation increases the effective capacity of security teams beyond what would be possible manually, directly addressing the challenge of too many alerts for analysts to process. Option A is incorrect because standard infrastructure configurations helps with consistent deployment, but doesn't directly address alert handling. Option C is incorrect because employee retention might be a secondary benefit after solving the alert overload problem, but doesn't directly address the volume challenge. Option D is incorrect because cost reduction might be an outcome, but doesn't directly address the immediate challenge of handling too many alerts. A security analyst isolates an infected workstation from the network after confirming malware is present. Which incident response phase is the analyst performing? A. Analysis. B. Containment. C. Detection. D. Eradication. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Containment. Explanation. Option B is correct because isolating an infected system from the network is a classic containment activity designed to limit damage and prevent the incident from spreading to other systems. Option A is incorrect because analysis involves investigating to understand the nature and scope of the incident. Option C is incorrect because detection involves identifying potential incidents, which has already occurred since malware was confirmed. Option D is incorrect because eradication would involve removing the malware, which would come after containment. During a security incident, a team member documents the time and specific actions taken during each step of the response. What is the primary purpose of this documentation? A. Training new security team members. B. Meeting regulatory compliance requirements. C. Testing the incident response plan. D. Improving response procedures for future incidents. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. meeting regulatory compliance requirements. Explanation. Option B is correct because detailed documentation of incident response actions primarily serves regulatory compliance requirements by providing evidence of proper incident handling for auditors and regulators. This documentation may also be needed for legal proceedings. Option A is incorrect because training might use incident documentation secondarily, but it's not the primary purpose during an active incident. Option C is incorrect because testing isn't accomplished through documentation during a real incident. Option D is incorrect because improving procedures is part of the lessons learned phase, which uses this documentation as input, but creating documentation during the incident is primarily for compliance and legal purposes. (43) After a suspected security breach, which of the following actions should be taken to preserve volatile data that would be lost when a system is powered off? A. Create a forensic image of the hard drive. B. Capture the system's RAM contents. C. Document the chain of custody. D. Review the firewall logs. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Capture the system's RAM contents. Explanation. Option B is correct because capturing the system's RAM contents preserves volatile data that would be lost when a system is powered off, including running processes, open network connections, and unwritten data that might reveal attacker activities. Option A is incorrect because forensic image of hard drive preserves non-volatile data that would remain after power off. Option C is incorrect because document chain of custody is important, but doesn't preserve volatile data. Option D is incorrect because review firewall logs examines existing logs, but doesn't preserve system memory. (44) A security team is investigating an incident where an attacker appears to have moved laterally through the network after compromising an initial system. Which of the following log sources would be most helpful in tracking this movement? A. Application logs. B. Authentication logs. C. Web server logs. D. Email, gateway logs. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Authentication logs. Explanation. Option B is correct because authentication logs would show login attempts across multiple systems, revealing how an attacker moved laterally through the network, using compromised credentials or authentication mechanisms to access different systems. Option A is incorrect because application logs might show activity within applications, but not necessarily movement between systems. Option C is incorrect because web server logs would primarily show external web access, not internal lateral movement. Option D is incorrect because email gateway logs would show email-based attacks, but not network-based lateral movement. (45) A company operates in multiple countries with different data protection laws. When developing information security policies, which of the following should be the most important consideration? A. Using a single global standard that meets the strictest requirements. B. Creating separate policies for each country. C. Implementing a federated approach with core requirements and local adaptations. D. Adopting industry-specific frameworks only. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Implementing a federated approach with core requirements and local adaptations. Explanation. Option C is correct because a federated approach with core requirements and local adaptations provides the best balance for multinational operations, ensuring consistent security across the organization, while allowing for necessary adjustments to meet local legal and regulatory requirements. Option A is incorrect because single global standard might be overly restrictive in some regions and inefficient. Option B is incorrect because separate policies for each country would create inconsistency and management challenges. Option D is incorrect because industry-specific frameworks only wouldn't adequately address varying legal requirements across countries. (46) A security professional is creating a document that outlines recommended, but not mandatory security practices for mobile devices. Which type of security governance document is being created? A. Security standard. B. Security procedure. C. Security policy. D. Security guideline. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. D. Security guideline. Explanation. Option D is correct because security guidelines provide recommended courses of action that allow flexibility in implementation, exactly matching the scenario's description of recommended but not mandatory practices. Guidelines suggest approaches while allowing adaptations based on specific needs. Option A is incorrect because security standard would establish mandatory requirements, not recommendations. Option B is incorrect because security procedure would provide specific step-by-step instructions. Option C is incorrect because security policy would establish high-level mandatory direction, not flexible recommendations. (47) A company purchases an insurance policy to protect against financial losses from data breaches. Which risk management strategy does this represent? A. Risk mitigation. B. Risk avoidance. C. Risk acceptance. D. Risk transfer. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. D. Risk transfer. Explanation. Option D is correct because risk transfer involves shifting the financial burden of a risk to another party, typically through insurance policies, contracts, or outsourcing. Purchasing insurance for data breaches is a classic example of transferring the financial impact of a risk. Option A is incorrect because risk mitigation involves implementing controls to reduce likelihood or impact. Option B is incorrect because risk avoidance eliminates the risk by removing its source. Option C is incorrect because risk acceptance involves acknowledging and retaining the risk without additional action. (48) An organization conducts a comprehensive assessment of all their security risks once every 3 years, with smaller reviews when significant changes occur. What type of risk assessment approach is this? A. Continuous assessment. B. Ad hoc assessment. C. Recurring assessment. D. Real-time assessment. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Recurring assessment. Explanation. Option C is correct because recurring assessment involves regular scheduled assessments at defined intervals, supplemented by additional reviews when needed. Option A is incorrect because continuous assessment would involve ongoing constant monitoring and assessment. Option B is incorrect because ad hoc assessment would be conducted only when needed without a regular schedule. Option D is incorrect because real-time assessment would involve immediate automated assessment as conditions change. (49) During vendor selection, a company discovers that a potential security assessment vendor also sells security remediation services. This situation represents which of the following? A. Supply chain risk. B. Conflict of interest. C. Business continuity concern. D. Compliance verification issue. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Conflict of interest. Explanation. Option B is correct because this situation represents a conflict of interest where the vendor might have financial incentive to find problems their remediation services can address. This compromises the objectivity of their security assessment, as they may benefit from finding more issues. Option A is incorrect because supply chain risk would involve risks from the vendor's suppliers or subcontractors. Option C is incorrect because business continuity concern would involve the vendor's ability to provide continuous service. Option D is incorrect because compliance verification issue would involve regulatory compliance verification. (50) A company needs to share sensitive network architecture diagrams with a security consultant before beginning a project. Which agreement should be signed first? A. Master Service Agreement. B. Statement of Work. C. Non-Disclosure Agreement. D. Service Level Agreement. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Non-Disclosure Agreement. Explanation. Option C is correct because a non-disclosure agreement specifically protects sensitive information from unauthorized disclosure. Before sharing sensitive network architecture diagrams, an NDA should be signed first to legally protect the confidentiality of this security information, even before other project agreements. Option A is incorrect because MSA is a broader agreement that comes later in the relationship. Option B is incorrect because SY0-701 details the specific work to be performed, which would come after initial information sharing. Option D is incorrect because SLA addresses ongoing service performance, not initial confidentiality. You have reached the end of our question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at MyITCerts.com. where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. You can study completely free using our study materials and questions and ace your exams with confidence. Thank you for studying with us today. See you in the next video.